At the moment, I'm standing in the coffee room of my office in Tulsa, the OSU Extension office. And with me is Janet Koziol. Janet's a horticulturist, and she and her husband are in the wholesale greenhouse business down in Okmulgee. Janet's come up to visit with us today about the dish gardens that she grows. And what else do you grow down at your greenhouse?
We also grow bedding plants for spring sales, poinsettias, foliage, and the dish gardens.
And these are all to supply local retail outlets?
Yes, to the florist, garden centers,
okay,
whatever.
Do you supply all over the state or just Tulsa?
Mainly Tulsa area and the lower south area, but we also expanding to the Oklahoma City area.
Okay, well, these dish gardens you brought up today, Janet, are just beautiful. Tell me something about dish gardens. When people go to a florist and want to buy a plant-type gift for someone, why would they want to choose a dish garden?
Dish garden is very versatile in the fact that it has several different plants in it. It can be used for a hospital, a funeral, for a sympathy gift sent to the home. It can be used as a baby gift, anything. It has an array of plants in it that they can eventually have a variety. It is also smaller than a 6-inch pot.
Sure.
And easier to put on a coffee table, end table.
Right, and it's an alternative to cut flowers if you want something
something that will last.
These are just beautiful. Let's get started looking at some of these. I noticed back here you have some cactus. Some people, when they think of a dish garden, this is the first thing that comes to mind.
This is one of our large dish gardens with several large cactus in it. This you would not water as much. You would water once in a while and let it get really dry in between watering so as not to. In all dish gardens, they do not have drainage holes. Okay. They're solid pots.
So they probably
so that they won't ruin your coffee table.
Right, and you'd want to make sure that you do watch your watering and not overdo it.
That's right. You really have to watch it with the cactus.
And that's a really big one. Looks like you've got a little bit smaller ones here.
Yes, we have medium also.
Well, that has a nice variety. Notice you have some string of pearls. That's always an interesting succulent.
Yes, it's getting ready to bloom, and it's an unusual one. Of course, we mix the succulents along with the cactus to give it interesting shapes and forms. That's one of the things in dish gardens is you want to make a variety of plants with different shapes, forms, the leaf, and plant style.
Oh,
so as to give you interest.
Sure, it's not just all on one.
Right, you wouldn't want to put all of one variety. Oh, no, this is another one. This is a lithrop getting ready to bloom. It will have a white straw flower type. This is type of aloe. And then just your column cactus and a little barrel cactus.
Oh, those are nice. Now, the lithops are one you might have seen in magazines. There have been recent articles on them. They're called living stones. They're also, I guess they're native to South Africa, in African countries, but they're very interesting.
Some of them have flowers that come up, and some of them have little living stones that come up, and they don't flower. Some are flowering lithrops, and some are reproducing stone lithrops, is what they call them.
Oh, they're really interesting. And the nice thing about a dish garden full of succulents and cacti is that it's going to be with you for some time before you have to transplant.
Yes, they rather grow slowly.
Now here's some tropical plants. These are what a lot of you might think of when you go to make your own dish garden. What's in this one?
This one has the palm, a banana croton, and a California ivy.
Oh, that's pretty. Now let's take a look at that banana croton. Some of you might be familiar with the regular croton. This is unusual.
It is a thin leaf with the yellow and green. It does not turn the red. And it's called a banana croton. And it just grows up.
I like that.
And this is another container. These are the small ones with only 3 plants. And there's the banana croton too. See, some of the leaves will have little hooks on them.
Little nodes, yeah.
And they call them bananas.
Oh, this one has some easy to grow plants in. This is probably a foolproof dish garden right
here. This
here.
One's easy to grow. This one has, and they're pretty well slow growing. The palm will grow the fastest. But your nephthys, your red nephthys does not grow as fast as your normal nephthys. And your Sansevieria, of course, will grow slower.
Right, and especially this rosette form.
Yes.
Yeah, those are pretty foolproof. If you have a black thumb, you might want to try one with those plants in it.
Okay, these are our medium. Now this one we've put some unusual plants in. This is a Dracaena Marginata, and this is another Dracaena.
Oh, that's interesting. They almost looks like the Cuba or gold dust plant we grow out in the landscape.
Right. It's called Godsefriana, or a lot of them. There's another one that's real close to this one. It's a Florida Beauty, which is easier to remember than Godsefriana. This is a variegated ficus tree. They'll eventually grow up. They start out little.
Oh yeah, if you've ever shopped at the shopping malls, those are the big trees that you walk on. And this is a variegated form. That's very nice. And that would be an easy one to propagate later on if they want to grow more.
And this is a golden pothos.
Mm-hmm.
This is a glacier ivy in here.
Oh yeah.
It adds color to it.
Well, I noticed on this one you've mixed a lot of variegated plants in with solid, and that's a nice
We try
feature.
to incorporate everything. Some of them we put really wild colors in, like purple passion plants in. Just to add color, we use the pink polka dot plant that is popular now. We use it a lot, especially in baby containers or in a small container that would be used for a baby container.
Sure. Yeah.
The pink for the little girls. And the boys, we do more of the red colors, like the Dracaenas with the red on them. This is
Primaries.
another Peperomia.
That's nice. And now on this one, it's quite a bit different container. That's sort of a blue enamel. I guess really for a dish garden you could use most any kind of container.
Yes,
couldn't
you could use glass, ceramics, plastic,
That's nice. Now,
anything that will not leak onto your coffee table.
and you have this. I've noticed all of these have the moss in
Yes,
there.
all of them have the sheet moss in it. It not only covers up the soil, but it helps retain moisture in the soil and just adds a decorative look to it.
Oh yeah, it finishes it off real nicely. But this one is beautiful, I think. Tell me about this one.
This one is one of our European gardens.
What makes it European?
European would be the flower in the middle, which you can just zap out.
Hey, that's neat.
When this one dies, you can go to the store, buy another little 4-inch blooming plant.
So you could make this seasonal through the year.
Yes, you could make this seasonal, or if you didn't want to put any more flowers in it, you could use a silk flower arrangement in it. You could even put another green plant in it. It doesn't matter.
That's
It's a very versatile one that, see, when there's a pot stuck down in the middle of it. So that, you know, you can just, you could even put a solo cup in there with the foam to put silks in or dries in or whatever you want it.
And just make an arrangement
And
down
just
in the
make an
center,
independent
independent of this
Right.
right here.
And that way
That's
it
nice.
wouldn't ruin it
Yeah.
because of the watering of the plants.
These are good ideas. A lot of you might just have 6-inch size or larger house plants, and you might have forgotten about using the small plants in a grouping like this. It's really very artistic. Now this one's pretty. I
This
like
one,
that.
this is one that we've been playing around with for Christmas. We used the mauve colored of the baby doll, and then we've used a little Norfolk pine, a little 3-inch Norfolk pine in here that they could put little mauve colored bows on and decorate, or instead of doing the Christmas tree, if they didn't want to, they could put a little mauve bow here or a little ornament here and decorate it up for Christmas and be a perfect little Christmas
That's
gift.
great for a tabletop. Now, before we started taping, you were telling me about an idea of putting this Norfolk Island pine in a Christmas-type container by itself.
Yes, what we have done is we will find Santa Claus mugs. Remember the old-fashioned, just the face with the hat for the handle?
And the handle on the side.
And put him in there. And put the little Norfolk in there. You don't have to decorate the Norfolk. He's already decorated. He's
that's
ready
a
for
great
Christmas. That's a nice little gift for nursing homes, teachers.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could use little stockings, or there's a number of Christmas things you could use.
That's a real nice one.
And then you have your little tree afterwards.
Now, I never would have thought of this one right here, putting a candle in the middle of a dish garden, but that's just beautiful. It'd be great if you're outside on the deck for a dinner party or something.
This is one we have done. We did some centerpieces for the hospital. It was like this, only without the candles. They did not want the height of the candle. But it is used for this, could be used for Thanksgiving, with fall leaves stuck in here, there, or it could be used for Christmas, even with crotons in it, where you could put some little artificial berries or holly or some little something that would look like Christmas, little packages or something.
Sure.
And light your candle at Christmas.
Oh, that's really neat.
And it is actually planted in there. I mean, it
it's
doesn't
way
come out.
down.
It is,
okay.
before we even plant the dish garden, this goes in.
Sure.
The metal part goes in, and it has a little thing in there that the dirt holds it steady. So this will not come out until you tear up the dish garden to remove it.
That's really very attractive.
And they do not rust. They are staying well preserved. They don't get the rust on them.
So you could use it over and over again
Yes.
through the season. That's really nice. One of these are all available at a lot of retail florist places, so you could just go and pick one up, cash and carry. What if you want to make your own? Can you show us how to do that?
Sure. This is one of our containers that we use in the greenhouses. It is made out of resin, and it has no holes in it, as you can see. And we use it, and there are many different shapes and sizes and that sort of stuff. What we'll do is we will take and plant this one. There are several different ways you can plant it. What I do first is take a well-drained mix.
And notice that one has a lot of perlite in it.
It has perlite, vermiculite, and peat in it, is what this mix has in it. And we just put a little bit to kind of even at the bottom because this bowl had a dip in it. Now you can do your dish garden several different ways. You can take it and put it in the middle and then plant your plants around it. When taking out your plants, you have to be real careful, not to try and disturb the root system too much. So you just build yourself down.
So you go from tallest to shortest.
Right.
Okay.
And they fall apart sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And you just keep working around. We have several different types of plant, and we'll show you how to do a different type one too. Now this one is kind of hard. See, that one doesn't really work in there, so you have to kind of play with them sometimes. Sometimes you just put them right back in and find something else a little bit different. This is a Peperomia. They work well.
And just see how it fits with the texture of the
just
other
see how it fits. It's just kind of all in whatever taste you like. You can do it several different ways. See how I've worked it around? I've worked it around like this. And then I take these little small guys. I probably do not have enough small guys to finish this one, but we will show you how to do a different one. See how he sneaks in there and fills in that hole?
And that will eventually be trailing over the side of the pot too.
You want to use your lowers, ones that would go kind of stay low to the ground and trail out. This is another little Peperomia that stays low. So.
Well, they help hold each other up once they all
get
in there.
Once they all get in there, they help hold each other out. And let me show you how to do it the other way too. Now it won't hurt these plants. These little guys will be all right. They'll go back home and get planted. You can do it that way, or if you wanted to do it back up against, say, on an end table where it would have a wall behind it, you could do that. So we'll use different plants.
Okay, put all the taller ones towards the back then.
You put all your taller ones to the back. We'll use Croton for fall. And we'll finish this one out with the moss. See how I've stuck it in there and how I'm trying to get color. I don't want to get too much color. I've got quite a bit of color in there, so I want to go back in with green. Okay.
You've got plenty of contrast already, huh?
Yeah, we have quite a bit of contrast. What we really need is some green in the greenhouse.
Now, homeowner, you could just go pick some out and group them beforehand. And then
what you need to do is when you're buying them, you need to kind of have an idea of what your container is. Even take your container with you if you do not buy it there at the store.
Okay.
And that way you can see what you're going to do and set them in there with the pots. You know, just stick them in there so that they can see what they're going to look like.
Okay.
Sometimes I use two of the same things in them, just depending on how I feel. Sometimes it makes it look more symmetrical.
Well, it looks so easy. I don't have an artistic bone in my body, but I think I could do this.
Oh yeah, it's really easy. Once you get the hang of it, and you'll know what you like. Everybody likes something different. When you get several people planting in the greenhouse or anywhere, and you'll work the plants around. See how I'm working the leaf around so it doesn't hide everything. And then you just go through, and you have to go in and kind of push it down. Pack it in a little bit. Don't pack it in where it's just tight as all get out. Just pack it some so that it'll hold the plants upright until you can get the moss in. The moss helps it at the very first in putting it together. It'll help hold it.
Okay, eventually those roots will all knit together.
Yes, those roots will all knit together, and it will make a...
Oh, that's beautiful. Quick and easy.
Quick and easy.
Yeah, okay, now how do we put the moss on?
Now the moss is the messy part.
Where
Believe
can they
it or
get moss like that, Janet? Would a hobby store carry it?
I don't know whether the hobby store or not. You might ask your local garden centers.
Okay, it's called sheet moss.
Yes, it's a sheet moss. Now, this is the natural. It is not dyed. It will eventually go ahead and turn brown.
Okay.
But I like it better than the dyed moss. I do not like the green dye that they put on. Whether they still use the same dye or not, I don't know. But a long time ago, I know that the dye was very dangerous.
I see.
If you put it, on a sore or something, you could get a blood poisoning.
Okay.
So I like the natural. Or you can use the Spanish moss to give it a gray.
We're seeing a lot of that.
Now, you can find Spanish moss just about anywhere.
Okay.
I know you can find it at the hobby stores.
Mm-hmm.
Sheet moss is a little bit harder to find. But I like the sheet moss because it's a little bit neater. It's a little bit easier. And what I do is I just take it and tuck it around. See how I'm tucking it in?
Mm-hmm.
And I just tuck it in. And I fill up the whole thing. I wiggle my hand in amongst the plants in the middle. And it just covers up those white perlite and just makes it a more attractive dish garden.
Makes it look more woodsy, kind of.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
more natural.
You just tear off pieces and pack them in.
Yeah, I
Pack them
tear it
together.
off. I don't try to work a big sheet in there. I just tear off pieces.
Mm-hmm.
You'll find pine cones. You'll find little sticks in this stuff. And sometimes the little pine cones will stick out in the front of a dish garden. We'll take it off the moss and stick it out front so that it will show up. And then you have a little Christmassy looking. I don't think we have any.
Okay.
You can see the bark and stuff that it's come off of. This was gathered in West Virginia. We get large cases of it from West Virginia. And it comes in sheets even bigger than this.
Well, I can see how that'd really be useful. Okay, well, Janet, what's the next step here?
Next step would be to water your dish garden.
I just happen to have some here.
Okay. And what you want to do when watering the dish garden, you're going to have to be real careful at the very first because it'll roll off right onto the table. So you want to do it someplace where you can get it wet. And just pour it real slow.
Okay.
See how that moss floats up?
Yeah, it starts to push up. So you just got to ease the water in there.
You just have to ease the water in there, and you may have to water it twice. What I usually do is I water it once fairly well, and I try to water kind of in each section where the plants are so that all the plants get at least a little drink. And then I usually let it sit at least 2 to 3 hours. Lots of times I'll let it sit overnight in the greenhouses. And then I come back and I check. Now see, there's quite a bit of water in there right now, squishing up. But what it is there's other dry soil in there that you need to let it soak up. And if you do get too much water in it, and this one's pretty heavy, you can tell by the weight of it, you can take and just put your hand over it and put it over a sink and dump it out.
Okay.
And see, you can see
Sure.
the water coming out.
Now the moss will
But
help
I would let it at least set a week.
overnight.
Overnight.
Okay, and then water it again.
Yes.
Or check it again.
Or at least check it. It may not. Lots of times if you water it good the first time, it'll go ahead and soak up. And if there's any excess, you'll be able to tell the dish garden and just barely dumping it.
Okay. Now they should check this maybe once a week under the moss.
Right. Under the moss.
Moisture.
Check it under the moss to make sure. It's always easier to lift up the moss and check it with your finger and see if it's moist. If it's moist, leave it go. It all depends on your environment wherever you have it.
Sure.
Now on the cactus, you would let them dry out for quite a while. I would almost let the soil start shrinking a little bit and then just give them a real good shot of water and then let them go. Because
Okay.
cactus do not like that much water.
Well, y'all can see, you can just let your imagination run wild. And while your kids are home on vacations that are coming up, let them just run wild with it too. Looks like it'd be easy for them to do and enjoyable too. Janet, thank you so much for showing
you.
us all about dish gardens. And
Well,
you might
more
want
than glad
to
to
buy a
help.
ready-made one or go out and assemble your own just like this.